thank you for joining us today. I'm Tanya Magoo, Caregiver and Family Support Program Manager. And with me, I have the Caregiver and Family Support Coordinators, Tabitha Lamb and Latrice Ramirez. We are celebrating the month of the Military Caregiver, and we have teamed up with the AFW2 amazing special program to help us honor and celebrate our caregivers and provide them with available additional resources. I would like to welcome Mr. Bobby Puckett, Program Manager for the Community Program, and his awesome team. Bobby, on behalf of the Caregiver and Family Support Program and on behalf of the caregivers, we thank you for putting together our first ever care fair. So I am turning it over to you, Bobby, and thank you again.
Thanks, Tanya. When you guys come up with this idea to partner together to do this care fair for the month of the military caregiver, we couldn't be happier. We know that a lot of times, the caregiver needs different resources than what their wounded warriors might need. And we know that the family doesn't truly heal if the whole family is not involved in the process. So we thank you guys so much for what you guys do, taking care of our caregivers and their families. So thanks a lot for reaching out to us and with this idea. All of you that are watching out in the social media world, if you have any questions from any of our presenters today, please put your questions in the comments, and one of us will ask the presenter directly so that you can get the response. After each one of our presenters present today about their organization and their resources, we will have a brief question and answer portion at the end of this. So stand by after that, because you may get answers to questions you didn't know you had. Up first, we have Jeffrey Nelson from Airmen and Family Readiness Center. Jeffrey, how you doing today?
Doing real well. How are you?
I'm doing absolutely great. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Okay. I'd like to first say how happy we are to be here today with everyone and to be able to share a little bit about what we have available, services for the caregiver out there. My name is Jeff Nelson. I am a MAGCOM Support Program Manager for the Airmen and Family Readiness Operations Division. What I want to do with this very busy slide that you see in front of you is I'd like to first make you aware of some of the kinds of services that we have across the entire division and within any Airmen and Family Readiness Center, and then really key in on 5 of those essential areas that we'd very much like you to be aware of and give you an idea of how you might use those services. So as you can see within the Airmen and Family Readiness Center at your installation, there are just a whole myriad of potential services that you might decide that you need, or that you may come in and request assistance in one of those areas. Something we wanted to make very clear is many times you'll have those kinds of questions, those kinds of issues that you may not necessarily see on here, and perhaps you don't know where to go for an answer. One of the things that we want to be known for is that hub for information, referral, and resources. So if you don't know where to go, we would invite you to come into your Airmen and Family Readiness Center in order to ask the question, or give us a call. We know sometimes that getting out and going somewhere physically can be difficult, especially when you're caring for someone at home. So if that's your situation, just pick up the phone, give us a call. We're very adept these days with actually being able to work with somebody through some kind of a technological platform and or over the phone. 5 key areas that we will talk about during this brief segment are family readiness and deployment, personal and work life, personal financial readiness, Air Force Aid Society, and also exceptional family member program with a specific emphasis on the family support. As far as family readiness and deployment is concerned, the center will provide deployment assistance to help DoD personnel and families meet the challenges in the 4 phases of deployment. We look across all the phases of deployment support for understanding transitions and emotions which are part of the process. The emotional cycle of deployment is big, and we know it affects everyone differently. But at the same time, there are certain things that we can make our members and their family members knowledgeable about that will help them to deal across the cycles of deployment. We encourage you to be a part of the pre-deployment. So when the member is given their pre-deployment information, we highly encourage those spouses and to show up, military caregivers to be a part of that, so that we can ensure that you're aware of the information as well as the service member. Early identification of issues can be really important, and sometimes those are things that if you show up and you get that good pre-deployment information, that you'll be aware of certain things that you should be looking for, or areas where you may be able to be of assistance. There are a lot of activities and events that are provided during deployments, and we do reach out to provide periodic contact with those family members, oftentimes about every 30 days or potentially more frequently as it becomes necessary or is needed. Next topic that I want to provide emphasis on is personal and work life. The Air Force Personal and Work Life Program offers education and developmental opportunities that provide service members, couples, and families with knowledge on healthy relationships, interpersonal competencies, and problem-solving skills. Personal and work life services are needs-based and should include, but are not limited to, communication, crisis management, elder care, family dynamics, relationships, grief, homelessness, job stress, personal growth, adoption, and time management. Within the Personal and Work Life Program, one of the things that we do is we provide training on the Key Spouse Program. The Key Spouse Program is an official Air Force Commanders program designed to enhance mission readiness. Key spouses are available to provide information and referral to unit spouses. So plug into that Key Spouse network, because you'll find that may be your conduit to unit leadership, and they can help you to address many of the difficulties that you may face. Military Family Life Counseling, that's available to provide non-medical counseling for service members, spouses, and family members. Contact your Airmen and Family Readiness Center or your Child and Youth Program for more information on this. And then finally, within Personal and Work Life, Military OneSource. This is a DoD-funded network of support for the military community. Military OneSource provides comprehensive information on every aspect of military life at no cost to service members and their families. In addition to the website support, Military OneSource offers call center and online support for consultation on a wide range of issues, from everyday concerns to deployment-related issues. Military OneSource offers confidential non-medical counseling services face-to-face, by telephone, and through secure online chat or real-time video, addressing issues requiring a short-term solution. So website, call center, confidential help services, those are available 24 hours a day through Military OneSource, no matter where you live or serve. You can find them through www.militaryonesource.mil. Next topic would be personal financial readiness. Our centers offer information, education, and personal financial counseling to help airmen, guardians, and family members. There is a requirement to have a certified financial counselor at each one of our installations. So wherever you happen to be, you can find somebody who is absolutely expert in financial matters at your installation. So you don't necessarily have to have something that fits into a specific bucket. Come see us, we can help you. Centers will offer training and counseling for airmen and guardians who are affected by a disabling sickness or condition. This is one of our dozen touch points that we now offer as a mandatory financial education. Training and counseling should be available to members who have a family member with a disabling sickness or condition. Come see us and we can assist with that. Next area, Air Force Aid Society. This is the official charity of the Air Force, promotes Air Force mission by helping to relieve financial distress of Air Force members and their families as a step toward a lasting solution to financial problems. The society also assists airmen and their families with their educational goals and looks for opportunities to improve quality of life through proactive programs. We've got a few quick examples of that. One is the General Henry H. Arnold Education Grant Program. This program provides education grants to eligible applicants for assisting in the payment of tuition, books and fees, and other direct education expenses. Grants range from $500 to $4,000 with the specific amount based upon students' individual level of financial need. Eligible recipients include dependent children, spouses, and surviving spouses. Next area, give parents a break. This program provides funding for monthly child care breaks for active duty Air Force families who need a break from the stresses of parenting. Families are referred to the program and receive a certificate to participate. Once a month, the Child Development Center will open to participants. The cost of a monthly 4-hour session at the CDC or Youth Center or FCC Provider Home, if approved for a revamped program, is covered through this program once approved through a referral. And then the last Air Force Aid area community program we wanted to make you aware of is the Spouse Employment Program. This program provides entry-level job training to active duty Air Force spouses with a goal to help them secure immediate viable employment. Community readiness consultants at individual Airmen and Family Readiness Centers work with local community colleges to tailor training that matches requirements of local employers interested in hiring military spouses. The Air Force Aid Society pays for tuition, instructor fees, and course materials for military spouse participants. And then our last topical area that we want to cover is the Exceptional Family Member Program, the Family Support segment specifically. The EFMP Family Support Coordinator establishes, implements, and maintains family support information and referral for families with exceptional family members. The EFMP Family Support Coordinator will coordinate with the installation's medical and assignment functions to enhance the quality of life of family members of sponsors who have special needs. Non-medical case management, assessing of family needs, developing service plans, coordination with warm handoffs, helping with local, state, and federal information, and navigating resources. These are all things that your EFMP FS coordinator can assist with. Here, we just want to make you aware of some of the resources that we have available to you. As you see, we have a AFPC YouTube channel where we have program vignettes. Additionally, we do have a Facebook page. Just search Airmen and Family Division. We've got a page out here listed for My Air Force Benefits. That is myairforcebenefits.us.af.mil, where you can receive benefit information in a number of different categories to include retirement and disability and other kinds of things. And then finally, here you can see our AFPC Airmen and Family page, the website URL listed there at the bottom. So I'd like to thank all of you for your attention today. And once again, we are here to assist. We'll look forward to answering any questions that you may have.
Thanks, Jeffrey. That's a wealth of knowledge that you just gave all of us. So I really appreciate you joining us today and sharing all that with us. Up next, we have Steve Kingston with Wounded Warrior Family Support. Steve, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing fine. It sounds like my weather's a lot better than yours has been there. But for our audience, my name is Steve Kingston. I'm with Wounded Warriors Family Support. We are a nonprofit charity, 4-star rated on Charity Navigator, and we fill a bit of a niche that, you know, with the wonderful job that Airman Readiness Center does and Air Force Personnel Center does, taking care of the folks that are still in uniform, where our role comes in is once they're done. As much as the Veterans Administration, both at the federal level and the various state levels, have some very good programs for taking care of the veterans themselves, a lot of times the caregivers kind of fall through the cracks. And so our organization's rubric is to try and help address that to a degree, providing some of the same kind of programs that are provided for the folks on active duty. One of our main ones off the beginning is our respite care. We can provide respite grants for those who qualify for our programs, typically combat wounded and high percentage veterans who are out. and we can provide grants for childcare, help with meal prep. We even recently started going into an agreement with Mary Mays to provide some house cleaning, just to take some of that stress of the daily life off of the caregiver, especially when they've got to run out and take people to different appointments with the VA or different appointments with the community care service providers, things like that. Additionally, to try and give people a break, we offer a resorts program where we will provide a retreat to the veteran and their families. Currently, they're through Orlando, Galveston, and some agreements with the national parks with Yellowstone, Grand Canyon, and Shenandoah Valley. The folks that get that, we send them off for 2 weeks so they can spend some time as a family outside of that daily life of having to maintain the household and cover everything that they're doing. To help out the veterans themselves, we have an agreement with UAW Ford for a veteran training program where we send them up to Lincoln Park, Michigan, and UAW Ford's Technical Training Center, and they will get them trained up and certified as well. There's for anybody that wants to get into that kind of line of things once they're done. And while they're there, we provide assistance for double occupancy lodging, per diem for food, daily expenses, childcare assistance for at home while they're veterans in training. One of our final legacy programs is our Mobility is Freedom program. For those who've been grievously wounded, we provide a grant where we will purchase a vehicle, and we will, working in conjunction with the VA to see what level of needs they need in terms of modifications to the vehicle so that they can operate it themselves. We'll pay for those modifications, and we grant those vehicles to the family once it's been prepared and everything has been taken care of. Currently, the easiest way for people to get a look at our programs is just to go to our website, which is wwfs.org. But everything that is on there is not currently reflective of everything we have in development. Myself and our new operations director, we were both recently brought on into the organization where we worked as congressional staffers. And we've been expanding some of the programs because a lot of times with any federal programs, there are things out there that even large organizations are not necessarily aware of, and things are always changing. An example of that is the Veterans Administration has recently expanded their caregiver program aspect. And of course, since that's all in flux, when people call in, we try and provide them up-to-date resources and send them to the people who can actually speak to the program so that they're aware of what's going on. I appreciate you all having us as a guest today so that we can present what we do. And that's, unless I'm ready for questions once we get to that point.
Thank you, Steve. You guys are doing some really great work over there. So we really appreciate you joining us today and sharing what all resources you guys are able to provide for our caregivers and their families.
Thank you. I appreciate being invited to participate.
Absolutely. Up next, we have Gina Ramirez with the Minute Clinic. Gina, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us.
So happy to see some familiar faces here. So I am Gina Ramirez. I'm the Outreach Resiliency Coordinator for Mental Health. And basically that means that I am housed at Randolph, and I go out to units to provide any psychoeducational training, briefings, anything that they really need as far as psychoeducational resiliency type of topics go. So open to the public are our life skills classes. We work very closely with Military Family Readiness Center, the chapel, all the helping agencies on base. But we do provide prevention resources. We're very heavy in mental health on the prevention side because we want to avoid any kind of maltreatment side, as we are under mental health is the umbrella for family advocacy that deals with maltreatment and the drug and alcohol abuse program that we also have that's under the umbrella of mental health. So as far as prevention resources go and what's available to you guys and really the whole community, JBSA community, are stress and time management classes, emotion management classes, the grief process, looking at how we cope with grief, parenting classes for parents who are divorcing and parents who are still together trying to make it work, homeschooling and working from home, teleworking. It's been rough this last year. We have anger management. We're also doing meditation Mondays, the first and third Mondays of the month. That's virtual. We have infant massage. We have marriage enrichment classes. So we do have a wide range of offerings, and they change every month. I believe you guys will be getting our class list for June, so you can see what's offered there. I don't know how long we'll be offering virtual classes right now. It's kind of, hit or miss. And I see some people really love it and other people can't wait to get back into the regular rhythm of in class, in person. So that's basically what we do, or what my role is in mental health and how we can support you guys. Thank you for having me, and I am open for questions.
Gina, you guys are doing some really important work over there. So really want to thank you for coming on today and sharing what you guys are doing and all the resources.
You're welcome.
Thank you. At this time, I'm going to turn it back over to Tanya Magoo, and I invite everyone to turn your cameras on so we can see your faces. If you have any questions, please unmute yourself and ask questions directly to our organizations.
Thank you, Bobby, for having this amazing special guest. Thank you all so much for being here. So caregivers, I am going to turn it over to you all to ask your questions. So please go ahead and shoot, ask whatever you want to know about these amazing resources.
I'll ask the first question. Jeff, can you provide a phone number or email to reach your program or email?
Honestly, the best way, what I would suggest to anybody who wants to, who would like to use any of our services, my suggestion would be to call their Airmen and Family Readiness Center directly at the nearest installation, because that's where they're going to get those installation level services, and also they're going to get the best, the best. They're plugged in best locally to those services in the area. And they're going to be able to assist that caregiver with the kinds of things that that may be local to them, or various sorts of organizations that they may have a relationship with.
Thank you.
So I have a question about the entry level employment for spouses. Could you elaborate on that just a little bit?
Are we talking about the spouse employment program?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's an Air Force Aid Society community program. And what happens is every year we go out from the Airmen and Family Readiness Operations Division to our various centers, and they provide us with proposals for different kinds of programs where our spouses can get some kind of education or training. Now, there's always a quota as far as how many people they can take, and they've done programs like phlebotomy, medical records assistance, just all kinds of, basically what they are going to be is quick programs that somebody can use maybe through a local community college or something like that leads directly to some kind of employment. So that's and we've had a lot of those done even virtually over the course of the past year. So that would be that's something where, once again, get a hold of your local center to see what kind of program they may have available, and that goes calendar year to calendar year.
Thank
Hi,
you.
this
That
is
is
Tabitha
awesome.
with the Caregiver Program. I'm one of our coordinators, and I just wanted to ask her. Well, thank you all, by the way, for presenting today. There was a lot of information in there that I didn't even know. But one of the questions I often get from caregivers when we're speaking with them is resources for mental health. And I think I heard a few of them. So I just wanted to pull the thread on a few of the ones I think I heard mentioned and see if there were any that I missed. I believe I heard the MFLAX from Mr. Nelson, and those can be found through the Airmen and Family Readiness Center at a lot of locations. I believe I heard Military One Source briefly mentioned. They also have people that you can call that 1-800 number with them, and they can get you pointed in the right direction. I think we heard chaplains. Of course, we heard more with Ms. Ramirez for mental health, but that's typically for just an active duty wounded warrior. So I wanted to see if there was any that I had missed. And oh, by the way, Mr. Kingston, I love the respite that you guys are doing. I think it's amazing. But were there any others that I may have missed, just so we could highlight it for our caregivers in terms of maybe individual mental health counseling for the caregiver, marriage and family, or maybe even for children?
The primary care behavioral health is another resource. They do have social workers and psychologists downstairs where we are at Randolph, but I'm sure they have them available at other clinics as well. that families can get in touch with. For our office, our mental health office is strictly active duty.
And Ms. Ramirez, are those often called the BHOP?
They used to be called the BHOP. Now they're the Primary Care Behavioral Health, so PCBH. Yes.
Great. Okay, I'm glad I know. There's always change, and I'm glad that I got the new term. Thank you for that. Did anybody else have any that I had missed? I believe one of our caregivers spoke about Give an Hour, but I was wondering if there's any others that were affiliated with some of our organizations that are here today.
Well, I can't speak to any of our programs, but because I used to do Veterans Constituent Services Liaisons over the Congressional Office, one of the things that I would mention is get in touch with the VA. Their caregiver support side has been expanding. And the easiest way for people to get a hold of them is at 1-855-260-3274. And that would put you in touch with of course, the caregiver support line at the VA at the national level. And when it comes down to it for veterans, if they're in a crisis state when it comes to the mental health aspect of things, there's always the VA's crisis line, which is 1-800-273-8255, and then press 1. Don't wait until things get to a point where you can't come back from it. It's always a good idea to be able to reach out ahead of time when you're starting to feel those stresses than to try and deal with them after they've reached what seems like a crisis point. And again, neither of those are through our organization, but I figured I would mention it while we're here talking. So.
I love that, and I'm so glad that you mentioned it. And I'm so glad that these organizations are represented today, because it really is about helping the caregivers and the warriors before they get to that crisis point. And some of the resources that have been mentioned are certainly helpful and valuable in accomplishing that mission. So thank you for that. And I'm just going to throw it back to the caregivers or anybody else had any questions. Thank you, lady and gentleman.
I have a question for Mr. Kingston. Hope I said that correctly. I heard something about house cleaning and I think you said respite care. Can you go into a little bit about what that looks like? Is there an application process, or how does that work?
Yes, ma'am. With any of our programs, and we've recently kind of unified things on our website, so there is just one application portal, trying to make things a little simpler than it was before. What we do in that particular subsection of our respite care program is we can provide a grant for families that are dealing with combat wounded veteran, and of course all their appointments and all the things that they have to do. We've mostly at this point, and of course we're always looking to partner with other good rated organizations that can send people in to do this. I think our biggest contract right now is with Mary Maids. So if somebody applies for the program and they get granted the grant because they meet the criteria, what we'll do is we'll pay Mary Maids out to send out a cleaning service for their house, just to kind of help take the pressures off a little bit. With all the things that come for caring with wounded veterans, particularly with the signature injury from the global war on terror has been traumatic brain injuries. Particularly dealing with some of the things that come with that, it makes it a little easier if you can take some of that stress off. I'm actually a veteran myself. I did 15 years, so I know it kind of from the veteran side, but my ex-wife is also a veteran, and so I know it from that side too, in terms of sometimes it's those little stresses and those little pressures that just can make everything become somewhat overwhelming. So that particular respite grant is designed to just kind of take some of the pressure off a little bit and give them kind of a chance to get their feet underneath them.
Okay, thank you.
No one else?
Mr. Kingston, that respite, can it be used for something different other than housekeeping? Other than housekeeping, how do I say this? Is it safe?
In terms of the housekeeping aspect of it, that's why we've partnered with organizations that do carry liability insurance and have professionally trained people.
Okay.
You understand for a lot of our vets that they're not going to be very happy with people coming into their house. But that is not our only respite grant. We also do respite grants for childcare. And again, this is paid to use a licensed childcare provider because, this day and age, everyone wants their kids to be as safe as possible. So they rather farm it out to professional organizations that have the required licensing and are monitored by the state, et cetera. And so we will pay the cost of that. We have also sent out just on different days. One of the things we did over Mother's Day is we sent out Mother's Day baskets because again, a lot of the caregivers on that Included some gift cards to things like Texas Roadhouse, places like that, so they can go out and get a meal with stress-free, because I know there are days when I've had a day at work and I've got my kids, the last thing I want to do is make dinner and then the dishes and deal with all that, where it's kind of a nice break just to be able to take them out. So we've got multiple little subsections within the Respite Grants program, and we are continually expanding them. One of the things I've been looking at lately is partnering with another organization that they'll do gift cards for kind of a spa day. But that's still in development, so don't quote me on that at this point. But our current website doesn't reflect everything we have in development, because we'd rather have the logistics built before we advertise it, but it will be changing. So
Okay, thank you. I did have another question. I'm sorry. It's in reference to
You
the
are good.
training and employment. Recently, I was working from home, but then I ended up losing my job. I can't stay at home. I'm going to lose it. I need some train. I do have training, but if I can train in a different field to put me in a different area, and then I sign myself back in school. I start online next month, but I need training. And if I can get employment as soon as possible so that I can, for sanity reasons.
Most definitely. We'll try to make sure that we help you get, the information that you need. But I understand that we are coming close to our time. And so, so we will most definitely make sure that the caregivers, you all get all the information that is needed for you all to research the resources that you need. And so most definitely, no worries, Andrea. We'll take care of you as well as all the other caregivers. So if there is any questions that you did not get answered, we will make sure that we get those answered. So I want to see if Bobby, you have anything else?
I sure do. So one resource that I didn't mention earlier was community programs here at AFW2. We have a new initiative. It's called Warrior and Family Social Connections. We know a lot of times when you guys transition, whether it's from active duty to retirement, or from one geographical location to another one, sometimes you lose that support network that you had. So we've come up with this initiative, and we try to just connect people in the same geographical location, just so you don't feel like you're alone and isolated. To get more information on that, you can definitely go to AFW2 Warrior and Family Social Connections. Currently, because of the COVID pandemic, we're doing virtual social hours right now. So we just reach out to folks in one geographical location, set up a Zoom like this, have a little bit of fun, just so you guys can meet other folks in your area that have other things in common. There are other Air Force families. So we want to help you guys build those networks as well. Community programs is always here. We're always reaching out to organizations like presented today, and organizations all across the country to provide resources, opportunities, events to you guys to get what you need. So we're always here to support you guys. You can find an invitations link on the woundedwarrior.af.mil website, and fill that out, send it to us, let us know what kind of area we can assist you with. One of us will be in contact with you soon, and we will help start working on getting you plugged into the resources that you need. I really want to thank everyone for joining us today. Special thank you to our presenters today. Special thank you for our caregivers that joined us and do everything that you guys do to continue to make our families whole and to support our wounded warriors. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Bobby. We really appreciate you. And again, special thanks to our special guests. You all are amazing. A lot of resources, and we will utilize those resources. And caregivers, we would definitely get you connected. If you don't know where your Airman Family Readiness Center is, or who is the contact, we will make sure you get that information. And I want to say to you, caregivers, thank you so much for all you do. The peace that you give your warriors is so amazing, and it's a gift that the world cannot give. And so we really thank you so much for giving of yourself. And we are always celebrating you, not just for the month of the military caregivers, but forever we will celebrate you, your warriors, and your family. So thank you so much for everything, and thank you so much to the communication team for supporting this live. So I thank you so much. Have a good day.